Russian soldier, I'll fight the dark so you can sleep. I hold the line while others weep. My sacrifice ain't meant for fame, just so your children know my name. When money comes and peace is found, remember who held sacred ground. For all I give my breath, even if it leads to death. Young recruit beside me shaking, says he wants to go. Tell him about my grandfather who faced the same snow. Generation after generation, we don't back down. Home calls us, family needs us, we don't make a sound. Let us on to shorten.
Okay, welcome to this walkthrough of the 2025 Winter Soldier Shooting Competition held in Flagstaff, Arizona, and put on by a local training company here in Arizona called Independence Training. This has grown into a popular event. They put on 2 events every year. One is in the summer that they call IDARM, and then this is the second annual winter event that they put on called Winter Soldier. It's a AK themed sort of event, although that gives people an opportunity to break out some Cold War era safe queens. And you've got maybe a small handful of some AR-15 shooters that show up and have some fun anyway. So with that, we'll get right into the stage. There are about 6 stages in this competition, and the first stage was actually stage 3, but I'll call it here stage 1. So just keep in mind we all started on staggered stages. So let's get into stage 1. Okay, stage 1 was a blinded stage, and you can see from the start here, no one was allowed to pre-walk the stage at all. And you had to shoot the targets in a very precise order, starting with paper. So I quickly see the paper targets, and then you had to move to a circle target, which you can see in the right up there. And that was my first mistake, is I did not see that, and I went for this popper. So I needed to hit circle popper, and then you had to hit a drone steel target. They were big on their drone steel targets here. And then I saw some targets up at the top of this mountain, but there were targets that were coming in from other stages. And I went for this and I hit it, and he didn't say impact, so I knew at that point that that was probably not the right target. And there was one way on top of this ridge line. It was about, I'll say, maybe 200 yards away. And I hit that, and then I'm, now here I see it, man. You know, you hear me say it, and I see it, and boom. So I hit that, but unfortunately, I had a penalty on some subsequent targets because I didn't hit it in order. So that was that stage. Starting off with some penalties, not good.
I got a penalty, I know, because I went out of order, right?
Yes. So it's 3 penalties because you shot 3 targets out of order.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Okay, the infamous stage 4 here at stage 2, you had to start off by carrying an ammo box, put them down by the RPKs, and then fire off a real live mortar. Obviously, it was a dummy round. Run 200 yards, climb up a berm, and then shoot the target. So I will pick up my session right here. Okay, so here I am running. Got some beautiful RPKs. I wanted to make sure you didn't drop the ammo box on them. Grabbed these are some dummy steel. These things were heavy as hell. And then, yeah, this thing would pop it, and boom. And then we would begin running on down. I call it 200 yards. It was definitely more than 100 yards, but at 7,000 feet altitude, this was a long run for an old man. And I'll go ahead and just cut ahead here towards the berm. And you're running in this thick volcanic sand, and I actually started going up this berm. My legs were burning, and I sort of fell, I think right about here. Got up, and then I had to get the firearm ready, and of course you can see my chamber flag is still there. I forgot to take it out, and that just slows me up, man, and I was a little bummed about that. Finally get the magazine in, and then most of these paper targets were obscured, meaning they had some do not hits. You can see them marked in blue. Most of them were obscured in some way. You're huffing and puffing, at least I was, and having to hold this reticle somewhat steady, making sure that you're hitting the right targets. I didn't feel good about the first one, so I went back and I grabbed it, and then that was pretty much the end of that run. Toughest stage, in my view, for the entire event. Okay, on to stage 3. On this stage, you had to start kneeling, unloaded firearm mag to the side. I decided to stand up. A lot of competitors were just staying on their knees and shooting, but I felt at this distance, I just wanted to stand up. All of these targets were obscured, every single one of them. And I just felt I could shoot better at this distance using the red dot and just, get myself up and begin to move on to the next stage. So again, you had to run, over to this other range. And then again, a very specific order of steel that you had to hit here. And if you went out of order, you had a lot of penalties, and they had a lot of what I would call fake steel targets here. So again, this was more of a mental stage than anything. Not that it was hard, but you definitely had to have clarity of a mind. So I made it through this stage without screwing up, and was pretty happy with this overall. Okay, on to stage 4. You had to shoot from within this little tiny box that was trying to represent a car, and you had to throw a flashbang. You had to activate it. Now, these were training, but pulling that wire out was pretty tough, and mine never goes off. For some folks, it went off. For mine didn't. You'd see a puff of smoke. So now you had to activate your firearm. It was in a stage 3 condition for the setup. Hit these 2, and then there's a steel down at the corner. It was really hard to move inside of this thing, and you can see I wasted time hitting that paper target again. Hit the steel, and then getting out of here without, I was just trying to be safety conscious at that point, making sure I didn't send a round off into the little car thing, and then running in this super thick volcanic ash. It's very volcanic around Flagstaff. And then here we have some targets. Some are obscured. You can see I go for the one head popping out. If you look at that same row of target down at the very bottom, there's a little teeny tiny head that I just didn't see. It just blended in. It was in shadow, and yeah, I didn't see it. Got everything else, went after the steel targets, and picked up that other target coming out to the side, but I actually missed that little tiny head sticking out. It's even hard to see in the video. So unfortunately, I got a penalty on this stage. Okay, on to stage 5. This is the stage that killed me in the summer competition. I'm already nervous about this one because the steel targets literally blend into the mountainside. You'll see here in like a minute. Really, really hard to pick up. And you've got to run up this pretty steep hill, and it's just this thick, super deep gravel, and it really just does a number, at least on me, especially at the altitude that we're at. Just to give you a perspective, Phoenix is around 800 to 1,000 feet, and we're up about 7,000 plus here. And so it definitely starts to take a toll. So I'm running through the thick gravel and volcanic. I easily see the paper targets here, no issue with that. Pick these up, and then I need to start looking for the steel targets. And, again, they just blend in, and what I remember from last summer or during the summer is I had to start moving around here, and I move around, I finally see one, boom, and then I pick up the other one right here through these trees, and I don't know if there's any more. So I decided based on time that I'm just going to start making the slog up this long, hill here. And again, it's steeper than what it looks, and it's just a slog. And the deep gravel doesn't make things easier. Now, the guy's telling me the azimuth of the target that I'm supposed to hit. There's a center line in this cinder block structure, and he tells you azimuth 005, and they have a compass. And yeah, so I'm like already a fish out of water. I sort of get azimuth, in terms of 360 degrees. I open up this compass, and I'm like, I don't even have a clue on how to use this thing, man. And I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm running down on time. I'm just going to guess. I know 005 is pretty close to center line. So the logic was right there, but you'll see in just a minute or two that I sort of picked the wrong target. I went over too far to the right, and I picked up the right target. I should have just shot the center one. So 005 in my mind was over there, and it's really 005 is probably close to center, as I learned here. So unfortunately, got a penalty. Okay, stage 6 was actually my favorite stage of the entire competition. You had a series of obstacles, and then you had a moving steel target down at the end of this range. So distance wasn't bad at all. It was just that it was moving, and then you had to crawl in and out of all of these targets going down the firing line. So I get to this first one, let out an old man sound. I had a few of those come out of me on this stage. I noticed the younger guys were just flying through this thing and sliding, not this guy. Here I sort of hit my head going in, ow, and then you had to pop up through this door and locate the target, and then you had to put 2 rounds on the moving target before you can move on to the next stage. Actually got that one faster than I was expecting, and of course, you know, getting up and over is sort of a production for me. Then, you know, cleared on this one, and then you had to kick this. A lot of people forgot to kick that, and I think that was like either a 15 or a 30-second penalty if you didn't knock over that little steel popper there. Now you had to crawl through this big long tunnel, not a whole lot of space, put your gun through this firing port here, and I didn't really move it far ahead enough. I wasn't as stable as I would have liked here, and so I was definitely having a little bit more of a challenge hitting the moving target here. So I finally decided to move it, and you know, got that dong right up against that plywood, and I was able to quickly knock out the target for the second hit. And then of course the fun part was getting out of this damn tunnel, and so you had to unload there, and then you just start the crawl out. So that was the last target. Shot it clean, and was pretty stoked with that one. Okay, so that was the end of the competition for me. Not my best outing. I had a lot of penalties on some stages, starting with that first one, but I really love this particular competition. I like that Arizona has its own dedicated AK-centric, although you can shoot an AR-15 here, and really bring out anything. And what's always fun to see is whenever you get the AK community together, you also get a lot of LARPing going on, so you get to see everyone's you know, unique attire and also firearms. Saw some really cool firearms here, including the Stenzel. Was out in the wild, and was able to interview that guy and put him on my Instagram channel. So with that, guys, I'm going to sign out. Again, thanks to all the sponsors. Thanks to Independence Training for putting on this great competitive event, and hope to see it keep going for many, many years into the future. With that, thank you guys. AZCactusTac.
I am a Russian soldier. I fight